Hello, this is Stephanie Casper presenting on critical issues in special education for Drs. Deeker and Scruggs, summer 2019. Critical issues in special education require us to be cognizant of the fact that we need to be working together as professionals to meet the needs of all of our learners, not just learners that are considered regular education. One of the critical issues in special education is laws and history and their impact on both. There was a time that government, society, and schools, even families, hid or caused to be hidden away children because they were different. Sometimes the differences were visible, like a deformity, and sometimes they were not, like a mental challenge. Fear is a strong motivator. Fear is often based on ignorance. Society, families, people often thought that deformities were punishments for the parents, or that mental issues could be contagious. Therefore, the idea of keeping people with various disabilities separate was encouraged. The care for people with disabilities was also an issue. If you were poor, the availability of care was not widespread, whereas those that were financially well off were able to find institutions or doctors to care for their relatives. Due to courageous acts by many individuals, laws were passed to create equity among these people. Some of these laws were Section 504, the first disability civil rights law in the United States. Basically, if you get federal dollars, you cannot discriminate. It promises a free, appropriate education. It includes those hidden disabilities, for example, learning disabilities, diabetes, epilepsy, and allergies. This law works in conjunction with the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Please see my Facebook page for further information. What is inclusive education in STEM? Well, the basic definitions found indicate that inclusive is including or covering all the parts as the whole. In other words, making sure that all pieces are represented and or included in their entirety, not leaving a piece out because it is easier or because it makes things look not so socially acceptable, but including everyone and everything. By doing this, transparency is obtained. How do you create an inclusive education? There are 4 questions that you can ask yourself to help determine if you are being inclusive in the educational setting. Has the school taken steps to accommodate the student in the general education setting? Are the school's efforts to accommodate sufficient, or are they token? Will the child benefit educationally from the general education setting? And what will the child's overall experience, considering those other students, be? Think of the following strategies that assist in creating this inclusive setting and see the links below for more information. Is the setting, the material, the presentation the least restrictive possible that allows the student to receive a quality education and still be surrounded by his or her peers? General education classrooms with support, partial mainstream inclusion classrooms, special education classes, or specialized programs outside of your school district are all different versions of a least restrictive environment. Please remember that it is not really a place so much as it is a guiding principle. Kids with disabilities should be learning alongside their peers without disabilities. Please use the link below to go to my Facebook page to read further information and to see more links to assist you with that information. Collaboration between general and special educators is critical in STEM. Collaboration occurs when members of a learning community work together to increase student learning and achievement. If our ultimate goal is for students to learn, and to learn to the nth degree, then collaboration between general and special education teachers is key. Educators must work together for the greater good of all students. We are striving for the best outcome for all students, not just the smart ones or the easy ones, but for the kids that come in with an empty toolbox, or sometimes even worse, a toolbox full of broken tools. What does collaboration look like? It could be as easy as IEP or curriculum snapshots, or as deep as co-teaching. Anything that we do with other professionals that allows us to better meet the needs of all of our learners, from the learning disabled to the autistic to the gifted. Please see the link below to find more information on IEP and curriculum snapshots, as well as co-teaching information. How will this information impact my learning in my classroom? This year, I've already had students that had support people come into the classroom to assist them in their learning. But I did not think to use a tool that would assist that support staff member in guiding the student through their academic day in such a way that it would not impede their learning, but actually accentuate their learning. Next year, I plan to use the IEP snapshot for my own personal self, as well as using the curriculum snapshot to assist all staff that might come into my classroom for any reason. How does UDL instruction impact STEM education? Well, first, UDL stands for the Universal Design for Learning. This is an approach to lesson planning that benefits all learners without having to be significantly adapted or modified. While UDL was initially utilized in the architectural field to allow for all people with and without disabilities to fully participate in daily life, with the innovations of automatic doors or wider doorways, it is not intended to be used just for students with disabilities, but with all students, so that all students are engaged from the ground up. There are 3 key components to UDL: representation, action and expression, and engagement. Representation simply says that we should give learners a variety of methods to acquire knowledge. Expression and action states that learners need to have a variety of alternatives to show what they know. Engagement in UDL suggests that teachers need to know and engage in a learner's interests, offer challenges that are appropriate for the learner, and increase their motivation. A simple question that a teacher can pose when designing a lesson is this: what one thing could I add or change that would allow one more student to access the learning? To see more information, please use the link below to go to the Facebook page to read this in its entirety, as well as to see further links for more information. How does student behavior and mindfulness impact the learning in a STEM classroom? When student behavior impacts the learning of students in a negative way, teachers often blame the student and react accordingly. Often the child that is acting out is punished and sent out of the classroom. The root cause of the misbehavior may never be known. This is a huge problem that needs to be addressed. There are 5 languages to student behavior that are key to our understanding of the causes of that misbehavior: behavioral, ecological, cognitive, biophysical, and psychodynamic. When the behavioral language is being utilized, reinforcement is essential. If this, then that. If you say it, then you must follow through exactly as you specified. If a child is struggling because they do not fit in, then change the setting that they are in. Add or take something away that helps or inhibits that student. Cognitive is simply thinking about their behavior. What is causing that behavior? The students use their inner speech or their inner voice to affect or to modify their underlying thinking, which in turn affects the way that they behave. Biophysical language calls for a medical intervention. This could be a lack of medication, too much medication, or a need for a change in dosage of medication due to growth of the student. Psychodynamic behavior indicates that the basic needs are not being met for that child. It can take 10 times the amount of positive statements to negate the impact of one negative statement. How will I use technology to impact student learning in my classroom? Well, first, let's realize the use of technology in today's society has changed the face of education. No longer do we teach handwriting because a computer can be used to write. A card catalog is something that our moms use to sort greeting cards. Globes are set to the side because we can use digital maps to see what is needed for the task at hand. So how can I use technology as more than just a replacement for something that used to be done by hand? How can I implement the use of technology into my teaching in such a way that it is meaningful and impactful? Technology is a platform that provides access to learners that were previously denied due to their disabilities or personal limitations. Technology can be the ramp to get to the low floor mentioned in prior posts, or it can be the ladder needed to attain the highest level possible. It can also be the wide wall that allows a learner to express their learning in one of a multitude of ways. It can also be my personal ramp or ladder as I strive to overcome the gap of being a digital immigrant. Please see the link below to go to the Facebook page to see the full information. Thank you for taking the time to read and listen to the information I presented. Please feel free to search this link on Facebook and like it. I will leave it posted after our class has ended.